Francesco Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report. Jeff Boone back in the news, just can't take no for an answer. And he wonders why he's one of the most hated men in Venice. And I'm glad that he is there because I thought I was most hated. And he makes me look loved. So, the city of Venice, a couple weeks ago, you'll see if you're on YouTube, just go to my website, and below it I'll have previous articles where this apartment complex was rejected. It's an apartment complex that when I decided to run for mayor just to piss off Hollick and challenge him, I brought up that apartment complex and nobody believed me back then, and now it's come to fruition and people just don't listen. They listen to the politicians who lie their asses off half the time, or they don't lie, they just don't answer, and people accept that. Here, this is a classic case. 2 years ago, I told everybody about this, but I digress. There you go. On May 9th, the decision was to deny the request for this multifamily, this apartment complex. It's 2.4 acres right here on Pinebrook Road, which is already a mess with congestion. It's a piece of property that is zoned, actually, and it's zoned for it's either zoned for nursing home, assisted living, and there's a PUD that allowed for office or professional use. That never came to fruition. It's right next to another nursing home. They would be more than happy to acquire that property, from what I recall from the last council meeting, but the owner isn't interested in it. He wants this apartment complex there. This apartment complex will put 43 units in there, which will add majorly to the congestion to a spot right there where there's a lot of accidents. Not sure why, but it's prone to a lot of accidents daily almost. And it's right next to Angelo's, where you would if you're coming off Venice Avenue, you make a right to go to the police station. And so Boone is at it. He, even though it was rejected, he put in a request again. I remember Dan Lobeck, who's a staunch advocate for the slow growth concept out there, challenged him. He won the decision. I remember he was interrogating Boone, which pissed Boone off. Man, Boone was pissed during that whole meeting. And this is a picture you see up there of Lobeck interrogating him. And it's funny when you see Boone get frazzled, man. The guy's such a douche. So anyways, Lobeck was not happy that Boone would do that and that the city would even consider rehearing the whole case. Boone's argued that since the city regulations don't allow for any construction of a structure that's large enough to serve as a nursing home, one can't be built there, and therefore it should be changed. Dan Lobeck, the attorney, he says, well, that's not quite correct. He said it's a valuable piece of that the city will face potential lawsuit and for infringing upon their property rights if they go through with this, and it's not because it's already zoned a certain way. This is the thing that I've always fought for, and something that drives me crazy. People buy these houses, okay? Pinebrook was here when I was a little kid. In '82, when I first moved here, we lived here on Sleepy Hollow Lane, and back then, people buy their houses, and they buy it with the knowledge that the zoning is X, Y, Z, whatever you want to call it. Same with that hotel that they're trying to put on 41. They bought it with the county having it zoned a certain way. Now, if somebody buys that property, it has to change over to city zoning. This all came into play after those people bought their house. The changes that Boone is requesting are zoning changes years after these people bought their house, under the understanding that it could be a nursing home, not an apartment complex. And Boone is trying to change that, and it drives me crazy. And it's one thing I've always said is, no, we don't do that. If the zoning has been X, it stays X. Bottom line, if it's small little changes that aren't minuscule, that aren't going to matter, I could look at it, but just doesn't make sense. And that's what Boone is pushing for. He asked the council just like a couple days via email after that to rescind the decision and consider that multifamily structure. And apparently the council said, okay, maybe we will. So There's an interesting article actually out there from the Herald. I know I live in Pine Brook, and I see the signs everywhere, and they're going to have a large contingency there because it's saying you need to show up to this council meeting. So we'll see what happens. That's it. What say you guys? This has been Francesco Abbruzzino with The Scoop News.